4 reasons why it's actually the best way. Number one reason is you will be able to grow your money effortlessly. Napakagandang benefit po nito kasi hindi po lahat sa atin merong capability to monitor what's happening to the market, or we may be just really busy with our jobs or our responsibilities at home. So, hindi natin nababantayan yung stock market, but at the same time, we may want to participate in it. Ang kagandahan ng equity index fund, it actually copies the performance of the PSEI. You'll be able to ride the growth of the PSEI without doing so much. So let's say historically, the PSE index returned 10% from 2009 to 2019. Kung invested ka sa isang equity index fund, you would have gotten the same returns. In fact, talagang historically, actual figures po ito, makikita natin sa slide na to na yung returns ng equity index funds, they really mirror yung returns ng Philippine Stock Exchange Index. So parang nakasakay ka lang dyan, the stock market continues to grow over time, and kasama ka dun without doing so much. Reason number two po, why it's actually the best way to grow your money over a long period of time. When you invest in an equity index fund, automatic po, nag-i-invest na kayo sa 30 companies, gaya ng sinabi natin. And if you have more stocks, more often than not, that would mean that you are actually getting less risk. Take note po, we're not saying here na zero risk or eliminated na po yung risk natin. Ang sinasabi po kasi natin dito is, it's a good practice that you put your money in different companies or investments so that you avoid na yung pera mo nakatali sa isang investment na baka hindi mag-perform. That's precisely what we call diversification. So ito pong top 30 companies na napapabilang dun sa Philippine Stock Exchange Index. Ang kagandahan po niyan is if you take a look at the landscape, they all belong to different sectors. Anim na sectors po. So you have the property group. So nandyan po yung Ayala Land, SM Prime, Mega World. And then you also have the holdings group. Nandyan naman po yung SM Investments Corporation, si Ayala Corporation, Metro Pacific, Aboitiz, and then meron kang services. That's where you have Globe, PLDT, may mining and oil, meron kang industrials, may financial. So different companies operating in different industries, you'll be able to own them right away by putting your money in an equity index fund. Now, another reason why we say that it's actually the best way to grow your money over time is that you will be able to maximize the growth of your investment. Paano po yan? Yan po sa equity index fund, nakita po natin kanina, 30 yan. Let's say meron kang 30,000. Hindi po ibig sabihin niya na yung 30,000 mo, 1,000 bawat kumpanya. Doon po yung paglalagay niyan. It's not like that. What usually happens is, in an equity index fund, the more profitable companies, the more valuable companies get a higher share. So halimbawa, yung nakikita niyo po sa slide, in 2009, the share of PLDT was 23%, whereas SM was only 4.5%. But as times go by, yun nga po, nagkakaroon ng pagbabago sa consumption behavior, sa business model ng mga companies, nagbabago yung ranking nila. So merong mas nagiging profitable, may mas lumalaki. So in this case, by 2019, si SM po, from having 4.5% sa weight, ngayon po, it's already at 15.5%. And napaka-importante po na ma-realize natin to na ganito yung ginagawa ng equity index fund. And finally, the number 4 reason why we believe that an equity index fund is the best way for you to grow your money over a long period of time is that you get a lot of savings. So ito po, marami pong hindi nakakaalam ng mga factual information na ito, but these are benefits that you get if you put your money in an equity index fund kumpara kung ikaw lang yung nag-invest on your own. Unang-una po, you actually get tax-free dividends. Now, yung dividends po, for those who are not familiar, These are cash distributions or bonuses coming from companies. So pag maganda yung earnings nila, they want to share it to the investors, nagde-declare po sila ng dividend. Now, if the mutual fund is invested in a company and let's say yung company na yon nag-distribute ng 20,000 pesos worth of dividend, wala pong tax na ibabawas dun sa makukuha ng mutual fund. So the whole 20,000 pesos will be received by the mutual fund. Whereas if let's say individual investor ka, ikaw yung may-ari mismo nung company na nag-declare ng dividend, what will happen is it will get taxed at 10%. So babawasan po ng 10%. So instead of getting 20,000, you only get 18,000 pesos. Aside from that, in general, you may also pay less fees if you put your money in a mutual fund. Sa mutual fund po, meron po tayong babayaran dyan na tinatawag nating management fee, and that's what we pay to the fund manager or the expert who is handling our investments. Sa kaso po ng index funds or equity index fund, usually that's around 1.5% annual fee. All-in cost na po yan. So ibig sabihin, lahat ng costs in running the fund na siningil sa mga investor, kadalasan nandyan po sa range na yan, 1.5%. And let's say you have a 200,000 peso investment. So kung 1.5% po yung singil, that would translate to 2,500 pesos as a fee. Okay? Let's compare. If you are going to do the investing on your own, what will happen is every time you buy and sell, yung round trip po ninyo, ang cost po niyan is 1.19%. So i-round off na po natin to 1.2%. And let's say you trade 5 times within a year. So if you're paying 1.2% for the 200,000 peso investment, that would translate to 6,000 pesos. And now, let's say you're more active than that, 10 times ka nagtitrade. Then you pay more. You will have to shell out 12,000 pesos of your capital. Okay? So over a long period of time, itong cost na to, they also add up if you don't watch them. So just to recap, the reasons why we say that yung equity index fund po is actually the best way to grow your money over a long period of time. So pinag-usapan po natin, number one, it will allow you to grow your money effortlessly without so much effort or emphasis sa stock market monitoring, sa pagpili ng mga companies. You get to invest right away in the top 30 largest, most valuable companies. And again, in doing so, you are able to minimize your risk kasi nga you have more stocks. So naiwasan po natin na nandun tayo sa mga stocks that are not performing or yung medyo may regulatory risk or nagbago na yung business model. And then we also talked about yung pag-maximize ng growth sa equity index fund through reinvestments, di ba? Through yung pagbigay niya ng emphasis sa mas growing companies, 'di ba? So nilalagyan niya ng weight yung mga mas nagpe-perform na companies, and then finally you get to have a lot of savings which over a long period of time would add up and become more favorable for you. Okay?